he's saying is move back.
I have a step.
Cannot go back anymore.
They redid all the chairs.
Yeah, it wasn't a complaint.
So they redid all the chairs.
Quite all right.
They redid the chairs because of Maj. Because Maj is in here.
It's so odd to me that they're doing that here.
It's actually a great room for it.
I guess because it's the size.
Yeah.
You don't have to go too far to get the snacks, is that it?
Rabbi's thinking of holding like an underground poker no limit, in here as well. We'll open up the doors of the ark.
It was nickel dime at the end,
Checking the live stream.
not no limit.
See, come on. Switch the image. Switch the image. Yes. Yes. Working. It's working. It's working. That's this week. Frogs here. I got these new lids. I don't like them. I don't understand.
Yeah,
How do you
the lift.
drink from here? Oh, does it go backwards? Oh, it goes backwards, I think.
It rips more, I think.
Oh, and then there's a little spot for it. Oh.
Oh, okay.
Can you drink from here? Oh. Okay. I don't.
You know what? I just think
It was the vinegar.
you should all taste it yourselves, and then you'll know.
Hopefully
As
not
opposed
this
to us
morning.
trying to describe.
It was the worst one ever.
Yes.
There've been some bad ones.
It was.
It was bad.
Vinegar.
Yeah.
Something was like it turned. Something turned. Yes. They're trying to kill us.
Yeah. Someone is.
I think they're trying to kill us. I think maybe Rabbi is trying to.
Maybe she drank some.
Maybe she drank some.
Oh, maybe she drank some.
Well, we just drank some.
We just drank some.
Well, it's like a crapshoot. We're like, I don't know if you noticed. He drinks the whole thing, and I'm like one of these. I'm like,
Well, I'm hoping that it's going to be okay.
yeah, no, I've given up hope.
The mornings, the kitty shop, not the bear.
Yeah.
The last
Here isn't bad, yeah. Although let's be careful with what we drink today.
Yeah.
All right. Hi.
Hi.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Nice to see you on this fine morning. Nice. Yeah, nice, good. On our winter's day. I think winter's over. Would you say? I think we're done. It'll be another like 2-day or 3-day.
All the leaves are brown.
What's that? Page of what? For what? You always want to know the page. It's very, it's like a thing.
Yes.
Morning, Aaron.
Just turn to Modani.
You could start ushering and go backwards. Ah, well done. Well done. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. Hello, and hello on the live stream. I think it's working. It seems to be, everything worked today. Everything reset like it was supposed to, and everything seems to be working. So hello on the live stream also. Hello here. Hello, everyone. We are going to begin with Modani on page 170.
Modani lefanecha melech v'kayam shechazarta binishmati bechemla Rabba emunatecha. מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
Continue with Matovu. Matovu 172.
מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. ואני ברוב חסדך אבוא ביתך, אשתחווה לך על קודשך ביראתך. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. אדוני אהבתי מאוד ביתך, ומקום משכן כבודך. ואני אשתחווה ואכרע, אברך לפני אדוני עושי. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני, את רצון. אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו אוהליך יעקב, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל.
Want to do Elohai?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, 174.
Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. Ata berata, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata mishamra, mishamra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Nishama, Shenatata bi Tehorahi. Anything else, Rabbi?
Do you want to do Elu Devarim instead of Nesim B'chol Yom?
I mean,
Or would you rather do Nesim B'chol Yom or Elu Devarim? Which one would you prefer?
I would like to do both.
Would you?
I mean, both.
Let's do both. All right. Let's do both. I gave you an option, but you picked both. Just for the record. 175, Nesim B'chol Yom.
Because it was a test.
It wasn't a test.
Yes, it was.
It wasn't a test.
Sure it was.
Well, everything's a test.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesech v'yamina le'avchin ben yom u'ben layla.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin metzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layav koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shina me'inai u'tnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani ben chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
180?
Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur.
Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur.
Elu devarim she'en lahem shiur. Ve'elu hem kibud hava'im ugmilut chasadim והשכמת בית המדרש שחרית וערבית והכנסת אורחים וביקור חולים והכנסת כלה ולוויית המת. אלו דברים שלהם שיעור, אלו דברים שלהם שיעור, אלו דברים שלהם שיעור, ואלו הן ועיון תפילה, אהבת שלום, בין אדם לחברו, ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הם.
ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם, ותלמוד כנגד כולם, ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם, ואלו הם. It's too high for me. ותלמוד תורה, I can't do it that high. ותלמוד תורה כנגד כולם.
What's that?
You could do it lower. We'll change it up a little bit. It's too high. Your tenor is too high for me.
אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור.
Yeah. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור. Yeah.
I'm
ותלמוד
a French.
תורה כנגד כולם. It's too high.
Should we do like Eladon?
Do you want to do Eladon? No, we're not on Eladon yet. Psukei de Zimra. 183.
Baruch she'amar ve'ya olam, Baruch Osev Reshit, Baruch Oserum Kayem, Baruch Menachem al Abriot, Baruch Chayal v'Kayam Lanetzach. Blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be. Blessed is the one who continually authors creation. Blessed is the one who decrees and fulfills. Blessed is the one who is compassionate towards all creatures. Blessed is the one who exists for all time, ever enduring. Baruch atah Adonai, melech behulal batishbachot.
We continue.
Oh yeah, come on, let's do it.
Shochenad, middle of 192.
Shochenad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim Adonai laisharim nava tehila b'fi yesharim titalal u'v'divrei tzadikim titbarach ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקהלות רבבות, עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר, שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ, ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם לעולמי המאיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו לילה, מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעולמה, ואמרו Amen.
Continue with the Baruch Hu, call to worship, 195.
Lai la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 la lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvoreh choshech, oseh shalom uvoreh et hakol. Please be seated. We continue Ahava Rabbah, 198.
Ahava Rabbah haftanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla gedol havitera, Chamalta leinu, Ba'avur avotenu, Ve'imotenu, Shebatchu v'cha, V'talmedeim chukei chayim, V'ha'erenu b'toratecha, V'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha, V'yachel levavenu le'ahava u'l'yira et shemecha, ולא נבוש, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכשל, לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
200.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, מהיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בצל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Our song of redemption, Mi Chamocha, 204.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך שפתיים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתח עמך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amidah 205.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elokei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elokei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Ha'ibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh HaKol, v'Zocher Chasei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah livnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo me'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiva Ruach u'morida Hashem, Mechalkel Chaim b'chesed, Mechaye HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Micha mocha bal gevurot, Umidom elach, Melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol.
Kedusha begins 208.
Nekadesh shimcha ba'olam, kishem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, kakatuv ayad deviecha, v'kara zel ze ve'amar, kadosh, 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 Adonai tzivahot, Meloch kol haaretz, kivodo. Adir adirenu Adonai, Adoneinu madir shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kivod Adonai mimkomo. Echanu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu ve'Hu Yashmienu, Berachamam le'inei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Hichzion, Ledor vador, Hallelujah. Ledor vador, Ledor vador, Ledor vador nagin gon lecha, Ledor vador, Ledor vador, Ledor vador nagin gon lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim, ulenetzach netzachim, kedushatecha nakdish, v'shimchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush le'olam va'ed, ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nahagin gon lecha, Ledor vador, ledor vador, ledor vador, nagin gon lecha, baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We continue silently now, beginning here on page 210. through page 219. When you're finished, please be seated.
Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. Barcheinu yotzreinu kulanu kechan be'or panecha. Ki be'or panecha natat lanu Adonai Eloheinu. Torat Chaim ve'avat chesed u'tzedakah uvracha v'rachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha. V'tov einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו
We continue Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for reading the Torah, 244.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, vein kemaasecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshaltecha bechol dor v'hador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam moed. Adonai oz le'amo hitein. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Please stand.
Av harachamim eitiv avirtutcha et Zion. Tivneh chomot Yerushalayim ki v'chol levad batachnu melech elam v'nisa Adon olamim.
246.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udvar Adonai mirushalayim.
248.
Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai hagedula ve'hagevura ve'atiferet ve'anitzach ve'hahod. Ichol bashamayim uvaretz, Ichol bashamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha ve'amitnaseh lechol rosh. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Vehishtachavu, Vehishtachavu, Ladon Raglav Kadoshu. Romemu, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Vehishtachavu, Vehishtachavu, Lehar Kodso ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Please be seated. We are going to be reading from the Torah portion called Va'era, not Vayera. Vayera is in a different book of the Torah. We are in Va'era. It is the second Torah portion in Exodus. So you don't have to go that far in there, but I'll tell you it's chapter 6, verse 2. 6:2. Like my height. 6'2". Want to discuss that any further? 6:2. Exodus chapter 6, verse 2. Yeah, well, I'll bring them out for the study, but I have the other books. Are you excited about which one do you want? Do you want to claim one? Ooh, fun. All right. Don't worry. I have the 4 other books for the different translations. Don't worry. I have them. 6:2 is where we are. 6:2. 6:2. Oh, if you want to follow along with the blessings, it's 250 in the Siddur, by the way. 250 in the Siddur. 6:2. Anyone want to do the Aliyah for us on this fine Shabbos morn? All right. Come on up. Ta'amod Malka Bat David Mendel. La Torah.
Sure, where?
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher barabanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Oten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Elohim el Moshe vayomer elav ani Adonai vayra el Avraham el Yitzchak v'Yaakov ve'el Shaddai ushemi Adonai lo nodati lahem v'gam hakimoti et briti itam lated lahem et eretz Canaan et eretz megurehem asher garu va וגם אני שמעתי את נקת בני ישראל אשר מצרים מעבדים אותם ואזכור את בריתי לכן אמור לבני ישראל אני אדוני והוצאתי אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים והצלתי אתכם מעבודתם וגאלתי אתכם בזרוע נטויה ושבטים גדולים.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat amet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Since we read, why don't we raise and dress like sometimes we do, and then we'll be able to launch into our study. So, who's raising and dressing? All right. Mr. Picard, are you raising or dressing? He's raising. So, 252 is V'zot HaTorah, if you want to follow along. Please stand. Who would like Women's Torah Commentary to follow along with translation? All right, here you go. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Who would like to follow along with the Koran? Yes. All right. You did this last time too. It's good. All right. It's good. Yeah. It's written backwards. That's right. The Hebrew is so weird. It goes from right to left. It's odd. Yeah. The very interesting translation of Everett Fox. Who would like Everett Fox? Everett Fox, anyone? Everett Fox. All right. Everett Fox. And finally, Etz Chaim. A little more on the conservative translation. Yes, Etz Chaim. All right. Here you go. And the rest, we're using Plout. Oh, is it blurry? Oh, it's the camera. We have to watch those cameras maybe a little bit. It's weird. 6:2. That's odd. 6:2. Okay. Everything's arranged. Okay, let's do our blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Okay, so as you recall, last week we started the book of Exodus, and if you were able to read through the entirety of the book of Exodus, of the Torah portion of Exodus, the first Torah portion, it is huge. And not only is it huge, it covers so much ground. It's just the beginning of the transition out of Joseph. It's the birth of Moses, the basket, and the whole thing. It's really lovely. And then it goes actually all the way up until what will be the plagues. And the plagues start this week. So all the way, that whole story. So the whole thing when the killing of the taskmaster, and then he escapes, and the burning bush, and then he gets married. So the book begins and Moses doesn't exist, and the book ends and he's married, has a kid, and they've already gone to Pharaoh already, and they're already sort of starting this process. So it's a long section that's covered in last week's Torah portion, including perhaps one of my favorite lines that I'm going to forever think of from our bat mitzvah last week, who said this to her brother in her speech, who was it was so touching and so lovely, and she was such a superstar last week. I'm reflecting on last week's bat mitzvah all week, actually. She's such a superstar, and she, in her speech, which was so eloquent because she tied in the Torah portion and her family. It was heading into MLK weekend, so she tied in MLK into her speech. It was incredible. And then she turns to her little brother and she says, "I will always be the Miriam to your Moses," is what she said to her brother. And we were like, oh, wow, bro. Like, I was like, I literally like had to wipe. She was so meaningful as she turned to him in such a meaningful way. It was such a lovely thing. So all of that is covered last week because we know that Miriam was watching out for her brother. And so all of that. So all of that happens all last week and takes us all the way to the spot right here where we are going to eventually get to plagues. Whether we get to plagues here in our conversation, that will remain to be seen. But the Torah portion gets to 7 of the 10 plagues, the first 7. All right. You ready? All right. Let's begin.
God spoke to Moses and said to him, "I am the Eternal. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but I did not make myself known to them by my name, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land in which they lived as sojourners."
Okay, thank you. So, what happens here? What's going on? Well, first of all, what's va'era mean? What's that? Yeah, God appeared, right? Appeared is va'era. Lir'ot is to see. So va'era has the seeing, this idea of seeing. So God spoke to Moses and said, I am God, and I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but I did not make myself known to them as Yod He Vav He. So what God is saying is that I used a special name only with you that I didn't use with them. I never used the, right, because God has several names. God says I never used Yod He Vav He with them. I'm only using with you because we have a special relationship, which is really, really lovely. Except it's kind of like, I will tell you, I have really never dated, but apparently on the dating scene, like you have like a series of comments you use in your dating, and I think this is a dating move by God because it's not true, because God uses Yod He Vav He actually for all of them. So it's interesting that the text says, I saved this one for you, Moses, but he uses it, or she uses it, God, for Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I have the citations. So it's actually weird that God says that, even though it's not true. Actually, according to my calculations, God doesn't do it with Isaac. God says it to Abraham and to Jacob. But yes.
So, oftentimes we compare God to a parent figure.
Yes.
And sometimes a parent might say to a child, this is something special just between us.
Yeah.
But they might say that to the other sibling
Yeah.
too, to give them each that, confidence.
Yeah, for sure. My wife says oftentimes throughout every day, one of the children, you're my favorite. And then later, the other one, you're my favorite. And then sometimes she says, whoever is behaving themselves is my favorite. So, right, it's true, right? In our parenting skills, we are redundant because we kind of, that's what we do, and that's how we make people. So maybe it is that parental way of saying, I got you. What does the commentary say? That the relationship, which is similar to what you're saying in the parental idea, that the commentary says that the relationship was completely special and different for each one of them. So yes, God might have appeared as Yod He Vav He, but not in the same way that God is appearing as Yod He Vav He to Moses. It's God's different relationship with each of them is special and different. Sort of like what you're saying, that we're going to be special and different to each one of our kids if we have more than one kid. Yes?
Okay, when I hear passages like this at this point,
Yeah.
the curious thing I find is God is reintroducing God's self to Moses.
Yeah.
And I think about the juxtaposition between technology, which we can pass from generation to generation so easily, yet the laws we have in Torah, we have to start from zero with every generation, and it never seems to totally get through. But God has to reintroduce himself to every generation.
Yeah. So do you think that's good or bad? Do you think that's, I think it's a great observation. Okay. It's that because we need the consistent introduction, right? That you're saying as humans, we need the.
We don't progress.
Generation
to generation.
Interesting.
Even though we can progress technology, we never use a square wheel.
Right.
But we can't seem to get across that we shouldn't commit crime.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So Susie just mentioned, like, we have the high holidays every year, right? Do we have to maybe reintroduce ourselves not just to God but to ourselves every single year, right? And then we have Sukkot every year. We have this Torah portion every year, right? So maybe it's also it's a great point. Maybe it's a symbol of how much work needs to be done for us internally, because we're not developing as we should be. We're just not progressing, right? We get stuck. And that's why every year we have the same Torah portion year after year after year. Now, the flip of that, by the way, is because I bring it up, we probably bring it up to every single bar and bat mitzvah kid, is that the Torah portion you're doing this week. So when they write their speech, I'll usually ask students not to say, my Torah portion is. It's not your Torah portion, it's the Torah portion, because it'll be the same Torah portion the following week, the following year, and the following year, and the following year, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before. But what's beautiful about that is we're different, right? The Torah portion doesn't change, right? Rosh Hashanah doesn't change. It's going to be on the same time every year. It's going to be the same structure every year. We're going to hear Kol Nidre every year, right? Not this year. Great, okay. But we're different every single year that we show. We're different. We're either better, we're worse, we're slower, we're faster, we're whatever it is. We're more learned, we're less learned, we're whatever, right? So it's interesting that maybe the introduction is God just reintroducing the relationship again, and now to Moses. Nice. Yes. Uh-oh. That's scary. Yeah, no, we're not doing it. We decided that we're not going to do Kol Nidre. We're just going to do Kol. Yeah. We're going to leave off Nidre. Yeah. Or Nidre and not Kol. Kol means all. It's too many. Yeah. Just the vows. We'll do the vows. We'll just pick one vow. Yeah. All right. Yes. Yeah, that's nice, true. Like we change every year and we have to be aware of our changes. And that's also where we meet the expectation of, are we better than we were last year? Or now do we have to work on it again this year? For this year and for the following year? Yeah, yeah. So the answer is, if you add the Kabbalistic names, it's 72. Why 72? I don't know. It connects to the Zohar and to Kabbalah. Why 72? I don't know. Why so many names? Probably because each name represents a different moment and mode of God, right? And that's usually for us, so that God can be the actor for us when we need God to be in that mode, right? Sometimes we want God to be a comforting God. Sometimes we want God to be a learned God. Sometimes we want God to be, if next to an angry God, right? A warlike God to protect us. Sometimes we want God to be, right? So that each name fits into the category for the moment. I suppose they're adjectives, I suppose. You said there's no logical? Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. There's an answer why it's 72 and not 73 or not 71. Why I don't know. That's a Rabbi Google. I think that's not hard to figure out. But there's 72. Yeah.
How many ways are there in the written structure of the Torah? We'll find 72 variations, or how many in the Torah?
Oh, how many in the Torah? Less than 72. I don't know the answer to that either, but that's also probably easy to find. I would say it's far less, because you're really talking about, we could probably name them. I mean, if we sat here, we could probably name all of them, like El, Elohim, so on and so forth. So Shaddai, right? El Tzvaot, right? There's so many, we could probably name them. So yeah, but as you add into the other pieces of text, and then add the sort of the sfirot were the spheres that correspond to Kabbalah and to the Zohar, and those pieces then connect. There's like Ein Sof, which is the idea that there's no end. That's a name of God, by the way, but that's a Kabbalistic name of God, so it's not in text, not in the Torah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's the complexity of studying Kabbalah, is that there are spheres that are there you're supposed to climb, but you also know if you study Kabbalah, that you're never going to really go up that far. Like you already put yourself into an uncomfortable situation. Only God's in those top echelons. So it's almost as if you're going to spend your life trying to move up, and you also know you'll never move up, because you'll never get higher than the second sphira, for instance. There's an image. We are now like 33 parts off course here. There is an image that is in Kabbalah called the sphirot. A sphira is like a sphere, I mean, really like a circle, and these circles start at the bottom, and then it almost looks like a helix, almost looks like a DNA helix almost, but it's of these spheres, and each one has a different name. And according to Kabbalah, you move up, you try to ascend through these spheres in your life by doing mitzvot, by fulfilling mitzvot, by praying, by worshiping, by doing good things, right? All that stuff. You hypothetically move up in those spheres, knowing the whole time, by the way, that you're never going to get very high because you're a human. So it's very frustrating. That's why they usually say you shouldn't start studying Kabbalah until you're 40, because the rabbis deemed 40 as like being established, and they didn't want you to busy your time with these complicated ideas until you were established at the age of 40. So yeah, I mean, each of the names has a specific meaning, and then there's also, I don't know the answer, but certain names fit into certain spots in the Torah on purpose. It's not random, right? Right. So when Yod He Vav He is written, there's a reason why Yod He Vav He is written. When Elohim is written, there's a reason why Elohim is written. It's not a free for all. There's a reason why they're all. There's actually in the book about who, if you believe that people wrote the Torah, humans wrote the Torah, there is one section of the group just is called E, and they're the Elohists. So meaning anytime Elohim is written, it's thought that those authors were the ones who entered Elohim into the Torah. So if you follow along that, if you believe that the Torah was written by people and not by God, so that's up to you for you to decide. Yes. We are in another galaxy at this moment. So you go ahead. You keep going. I feel like Spock. We're in another. Yeah.
Last week, when Moses said to God, "Who should I say sent me?"
Yeah.
And God gave a lot of different answers.
Yeah.
But He did not give Shaddai or Yud He Vav He.
Right.
So why this week is it something different?
Right. So I think the Yod He Vav He goes back to the beginning of the conversation, which we'll try and scoot back to as much as possible, coming from the different galaxies back here. I think that it's fine. It's fine. This is why there's Torah study. So by the way, this is, if you read the Talmud, this is exactly how the Talmud looks, because the Talmud is on a path for a second, and then one rabbi asks a question, and then 17 pages later in the Talmud, they come back to the question, and you're like, what's just happened? Where were we? We were talking about vows, and now we're talking about like milk. And you're like, how did that happen? How are we talking about different kinds of milk? Actually, if you read Daf Yomi, which is the daily Torah, we're on the vows. So it's just like the weirdest. I can't wait for it to end. This is like such a long. What's that? The answer to what? Why 72? What's the answer? Great. Yes. All right. So if you go with the Kabbalistic view of things, right, every Hebrew letter has a number, right? And so those numbers also have a significance. So, for instance, if you did your own like palm reading, meaning your own reading of this, and you took your own name and you.
You're in fucking Canada. You're underwear.
Oh, hey now, morning. Good morning. And there's a mute button. And there's mute. So, speaking of Kabbalah, woo! That was something.
That's a sphere.
That's a sphere. There we go. There's a sphere. That's good. Everyone, good. Here's a suggestion. Be on mute over there until you are actually speaking. All right, good. Woo! And good morning. So, yes, save us.
I was reading the history of New Year's resolutions, and it goes back to the Romans and the ancients, and it seems that by middle February, everybody who's made a resolution is no longer
Finished. Exactly. I think February is generous.
It shows that humanity is, that's why we have high holidays.
Exactly. I don't know anymore. You tell us. Here for the first time, you tell us. So, yeah. All right. So, to bring this part of the conversation to a close, it's the setup of the covenant, because now we switch gears. Okay. So the setup of the reestablishment of the covenant is here, and now we're on 5.
I have now heard the moaning of the Israelites because the Egyptians are holding them in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Say therefore to the Israelite people, I am the Eternal. I will free you from the labors of the Egyptians and deliver you from their bondage. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and through extraordinary chastisements. And I will take you to be my people, and I will be your God. And you shall know that I, the Eternal, am your God, who freed you from the labors of the Egyptians. I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you for a possession. I, the Eternal. But when Moses told this to the Israelites, they would not listen to Moses. Their spirits crushed like cruel bondage.
Okay. Thank you. So, what's this?
We're finally being called Israelites. For me, Israel. That's another change.
Okay. Yeah. There's like a starting of a conceptual grouping of the Israelites, even though they're still slaves. But there's a conceptual grouping that we're going to be. Yeah.
I like the word they use here, they call brokenness, because of the labor and their toil.
Uh huh.
They didn't listen to, was it because they were too tired, because they lost the ability to think themselves? But I like the word brokenness.
Nice. So yeah, I think that. Oh, you're talking about 9, the end of 9. Yeah. So you have brokenness. This says cruel bondage. Anyone have? What's that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but the spirits. You have the word spirits. Yeah, spirits. Okay. Yeah. It's good. There's brokenness. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
I thought the use of the phrase extraordinary chastisements at this point in the story is curious.
Yes.
As if it's a setup. That God knows the Pharaoh's going to need extraordinary chastisements,
Sure.
as opposed to just being told.
Yeah. Well.
Well, that hasn't happened.
Right. But you're right. But you're right. Look, and don't you feel better knowing that God knows what's going to happen? I feel better knowing that God knows what's going to happen. So yeah, God knows everything exactly. So I think it's a foreshadow for us. I think God knows what God's going to do. Yeah, I would hope so. Yes. Yes. Right. They're not buying it. They're not buying it because they're crushed. They're broken. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
This is also the same group of people who are mining in the desert for 40 years.
Yeah.
And turn idol. So maybe it's the foreshadowing for these people. They're not just not believing because they're fresh out of slavery. They're not believing because they're not the best people. And this is just the first in a long line of instances that shows they're not quite worthy of the land that he's promised.
It's possible. It's very possible. That lends itself, by the way, to the idea of brokenness, because if something's broken, right, is it repairable or not? It's repairable. Okay, nice. It depends what's broken, right? There's this, right? So whenever I officiate at a wedding and they step on the glass, right? I always make a couple of jokes first of all, and then after that, the line is that I hope that your marriage will be as difficult to your marriage will be as difficult to I don't know what the line is. Your marriage will be difficult to whatever for them. Your marriage will be difficult to break as it would take to put the glass back together, pretty much, right? So, right? But if you think of a piece of broken glass, it's never the same. Even if you put the glass back together, it'll never look the same, right? There's actually an art called, what's it with a K? G. There's an art that you use a gold glue. There's an art that you actually break. There's an art that you break a piece of glass, and then with gold glue, you put the piece back together, and it's supposed to remind you that there's brokenness in the world. You can repair it, but there is still the brokenness. So it's interesting you say that, because it's possible that we're never okay, like, right? So, and to that point, what do we say every single Friday night? Every single Friday night, after we light the candles, what happens after that? Right after the candles, Friday night, what's the next thing we do? We just bless the wine. What's that called? The Kiddush. What's the Kiddush? Not the Borei Pri Hagafen. What's the next part? The thing that he says, that he sings. That sounds very nice when he sings it. No, the part after that. It says, Zecher Letziat Mitzrayim. Every single Friday, you remember that we left Egypt. Every Friday. Every single Friday, with the cup of wine, every Friday you have to remember this. This is like the DNA of the Jewish people. These moments are the DNA of the Jewish people. We don't say every Friday talk about Sukkot. There's not a Sukkot reference. There's not a Shavuot reference. There's no high holiday reference. There's nothing about Shana Tova that we put into the words of Kiddush every single week. Every week. But every week, what do we say? We remind ourselves of Passover. Not just of Passover, but the fact that we got out. The freedom, the way that we get out of it. So we carry this with us. We're literally every single week, even in the height of Shabbat. Come on, Shabbat is Shabbat. So we're carrying this brokenness. So maybe we're destined to just carry this forever, because it's just good to remember. It's good to remember what we came from, how we came out of it, because it allows us not to forget, maybe, not to just like lull ourselves into sleep. Is someone unmuting carefully? All right, yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, I was just going to say that it connects us to the past, the present, and the future, and it also makes us aware of that we're constantly in a struggle. Nice.
Yes. So I like the past, present, and future. And so with that, look at verse 6. So it says, say therefore to the Israelite people, I am the Lord. I will free you from the labors of the Egyptians. I will deliver you. I will take you. Look at all those things. So it says, I will free you, I will deliver you, I will redeem you, and I will take you. So if you go from verse 6 through verse 7, there's a free you, there's a deliver you, there's a redeem you, and there's a take you. See those four? So what are those four things? Okay, so there's redemption, lovely. There are 4 of them. Yes, those are the 4 cups of wine. That is the origin of the 4 cups of wine at the Seder table. The first cup is about freedom. The second cup is about deliverance. The third cup is about redemption. And the fourth cup is about taking us. That's why there are 4 cups of wine. That's why the number 4, by the way, exists all over the Seder. What else do we have of 4? 4 children, 4 questions. 4 is built from right here. This is where the 4 comes from. That's why there are 4s here. Now, if you keep reading and you go to 8, which we did, it says, I will bring you. What's I will bring you? That's another one. That's a 5th one. How many cups do we have on the Seder table? Elijah. So bring you is like, I will bring you. One day Elijah will come and I will bring you and right? So that's Elijah's cup. So if you want to throw in the 5th cup, there is Elijah's cup. So those are your 5 cups that sit on your table every single year on every single person's table, no matter where you are in the world. Those are the 4 cups. Now there's Miriam's cup. That's true, and a bunch of other cups, and you can add a bunch of other things, and yes. But yes, from the text, that's where we get the 4 cups of wine from. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. Heveti etchem. That's it. That's 8. I'm saying that's 8. Heveti etchem. That's the future for Elijah. That's the 5th cup. Yeah. That's the 5th cup in 8. Yeah. Please.
The Eternal One spoke to Moses, saying, Go and tell Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to let the Israelites depart from his land. But Moses appealed to the Eternal, saying, The Israelites would not listen to me. How then should Pharaoh heed me who gets tongue-tied? So the Eternal spoke to both Moses and Aaron in regard to the Israelites and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, instructing them to deliver the Israelites from the land of Egypt.
Okay, thanks. All right. What's this? What do we have going on here?
Well, Moses is doubting himself.
Yeah. So two things, right? So both. One is he's questioning himself, and at the same time pushing back on God, right? As opposed to, let's say, a prophet that works because God says to a prophet, "Go do this," and you're like, "All right." Right? I don't care how upset, how nervous you are about it. Just go and do it. But Moses is pushing. Right? This is the beginning of Moses pushing, which is why Moses gets to be Moses, because no one else gets to have this relationship with God. Right? But also at the same time, he's doubting himself. Really? I'm going to go to the Pharaoh? Me? Come on. Me? And why especially not me? Right, because he stutters. Now, what does your translation say for that section? So yours says, tongue-tied. It's the end of. This is the end of 12.
Mine says, and I am of foreskin lips.
Yes. So which one do you have?
I have fox.
You have fox. Good. All right. Good. That's why we have fox in the room, by the way. All right. Good. Yes. All right. Good. What else do we have? What other translations do we have at the end of 12? What does the woman's commentary say?
It says tongue-tied, but in the other part.
It says tongue-tied? What does the Koran say? There you go. All right. Because the Hebrew says uncircumcised lips. Because the Hebrew says that.
But we don't have circumcision.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do. Sure, from Abraham. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He did it on a rock. To himself. Ouch. Well, that's what it says. It says ki ani aras ani. It says ani aras fatayim. This is why Fox is so good, because Fox doesn't pull any punches. Fox doesn't want to make it eloquent. What does it say exactly? What does Fox say? What does 12? What does all of 12 say?
And I am of foreskin lips.
All
All of 12.
of 12.
Moses spoke before Yahweh, saying, Here, if the children of Israel do not hearken to me, how will Pharaoh hearken to me? And I am of foreskin lips.
Yes. That's Yeah. Impeded speech. Mine also says impeded speech, by the way. So JPS also says impeded speech. Ate coal. Yeah, there's a story that he touched coal to his lips. So yes, there's a. It's they place gold. Yeah.
And coal.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to get rid of Moses. And so they thought naturally Moses would go towards the gold, but God.
Yes. This is it's an old midrash as to why because it's brought up all the time. Why does Moses have some kind of a speech something, right? There's obviously a speech something with him, whether it's impediment or it's something. But there's a midrash that says when he was first born and he was scooped out of the water, and the Pharaoh's daughter brought him, the Pharaoh, who already had a son, said, "You know what? Let's do this. I think it's going to be. I'm nervous that he's going to want to be the Pharaoh and fight my son, because I don't want to have this isn't my real son." So he says let's see if he and so he put like the baby on one end of the room, and put on the other end of the room he put one pot of gold and jewels, and the other pot next to it was a pot of hot coal. And so the baby scurried down the walkway, and of course babies would be drawn to something sparkly and pretty, and right, so he reached for the pot of gold, and everyone was like, "We were right." And the story is that an angel comes and pushes his hand towards the coal, and what does a baby do with the first thing that they grab? Where does it go? In their mouth. So that he takes the coal and he puts it to his lips, and the hot coal, does this to his impediment. And that, nothing about the hands. Nothing about the hands. Right. Come on, get your own midrash. Yeah. Find your own midrash. I don't know. Yeah. Love me some cinnamon. Yeah. Some oatmeal, maybe? Some cinnamon? Brown sugar? I have some at home. So I don't make the stuff up. I'm just showing you that's what it says. And so here's this complexity of whatever his speech impediment is. There is something. Yes? Yeah, it's a stutter. It could be a stutter too. It's possible. It's possible. So one of the translations earlier on say slow of speech and slow of tongue. Slow of speech and slow of tongue. It's another, not here, but another translation. So this is by the way, I bring him up all the time. My teacher, my mentor, and my rabbi who died a few years ago, Richard Levy, was one of the greatest teachers for a generation. He pretty much wrote the prayer book. He pretty much wrote the direction the Reform movement was heading. He was a brilliant man. And he had a bad stutter. And it was very interesting because we would always talk about what a brilliant man and a great leader and incredible rabbi. And he had a very, very challenging stutter. It was very difficult sometimes to listen to him speak. But he was like Moses, and people appreciated, like, wow, he's kind of Moses-like in the way that he spoke. Yeah.
Can I read this sentence?
Yes, please.
That part that it's, while some commentators conclude that Moses claims to have some sort of speech impediment, others interpret these expressions to mean that Moses feels he is unworthy of transmitting the divine word. And
Yeah.
That's really what it's.
Yeah.
He's always been.
Which is like, which makes sense, because if you're nervous to say something or nervous in a moment, you mess with your speech. Your speech, your mouth gets dry. The stuff doesn't come out right. You get, it doesn't work. We're just humans. That's what happens. Yes.
That may be where the uncircumcised lips part come from, meaning he's not part of the covenant. Like all the other people who aren't circumcised are not worthy to talk to God, not in their mind.
Oh, it's interesting. That's interesting. It's very good. I think you should stop this lawyer thing and go right to the rabbinate. Now we have a lot of people that we have to talk about this. There's a lot of people going to HUC that we're sending. It's going to. Yes, that's nice. It gives me an idea about some singing for myself. All right, here, since we took absolutely no tangents today whatsoever, I just want to show you very quickly some stuff, and then we're going to end on a tangent, because I actually have a prepared. I wasn't sure if we're going to go on this tangent. I will see how we're going to go. So we'll do something, and then I'm going to end on a tangent, since we were on a tangent anyway. So I just want to show you very, very quickly. If you go, I'm going to just move us very quickly. Go to chapter 7. Chapter 7, go to verse 17. Chapter 7 and verse 17. You'll see that's where the blood occurs, because those where the plagues are. So 7:17 is the blood. See that? If you go to 7:27, there are the frogs. 7:27 are the frogs. 7:27 are the frogs. 7:27. If you go to 8:12, there's the lice. If you go to 8:17, you get the swarms of insects. If you go to 9:3, there's the problem with the livestock. The boils are 9:9, the boils. And the hail is 9:18. So there are your first 7 plagues, just for the reference, because we couldn't not mention the plagues. All right, now here's the tangent. We're going to end on a tangent, since I literally wasn't going to do it because there's so much for us to cover, but we're on a big tangent all day today. So here's the tangent. The tangent is that according to the Mishnah, right, the millisecond on creation, go all the way back to creation. So on the 6th day of creation, the millisecond prior to the 6th day, switching to the 7th day into Shabbat. So just at that millisecond, there's a story in the Mishnah that God creates 10 things. In the millisecond, meaning in the transfer, the last thing that God creates, like whoop, and then it's Shabbat. So in the millisecond, God creates 10 things. I did this, I think, probably 5 years ago on 2nd day Rosh Hashanah. I talked about this. So if you remember, then you'll remember. But because I have a note that I did it. So there are 10 things, according to the Mishnah, that are created in that last millisecond that God creates. And I thought we should talk about them, and you'll see why one of them, of the 10 things, is relevant to this week's Torah portion. That's how we're going to end. The tangent. The first thing was the mouth of the earth was created. What's the mouth of the earth? This is quiz time. This is Bible quiz time. What's the mouth of the earth? That's what was created. The mouth of the earth. what biblical story do you know? Yes, the ground opens, the mouth of the ground opens and swallows them whole. Who was that? Not Aaron's sons. Korach. Yes. So Korach gets swallowed by the earth. Remember, they get swallowed down whole and alive, which is why sometimes at night, if you listen closely, you can hear Korach screaming from the center of the earth. Okay, the second one, the mouth of the well. What's the mouth of the well? What's the mouth of the well? What's the mouth of the well? Yes, it's all of them. It's all the weddings, essentially. So all of the symbols of getting married. The speech of the donkey. Balak and Balaam, right? The speech of the donkey was the ability of the donkey to speak gets created. The rainbow. Noach, exactly. God creates the rainbow. Manna. The bread or whatever that was falling. Yes. Good. Here is the one. I'm doing it in order. So I'll skip an order because I'll save this for last. Have you ever heard of the shamir worm? Did you ever hear of the shamir worm? What's the shamir worm? The shamir worm was the worm that only existed during the time of the temples. It was supposedly a worm that could eat through stone, and it's what carved the stones. Because how would they have carved those stones? If you've been to the Western Wall, how could those stones have been carved perfectly? There is a shamir worm. I'm not. This is what the Mishnah says. I'm not making this up. It's what it says. See that? You have snails in Miami. So it's not weird then. See that? You have snails in Miami who are doing it. So, all right. Then it says just the script. What's the script? The Torah, exactly. So the ability to write Torah was created. Next is the stylus. What's the stylus? Right, the thing that maybe was used to write Torah. And then the tablets. The 2 tablets I've said have been created and waiting for the moment. That's 9. And the 10th, which is what's relevant for us today, is in the moment just before, is that God created the rod, the staff. The staff that would be used by Moses. Yes. And Aaron, right? Because he also uses the staff to throw down for the snakes. So that ties into this week's Torah portion for our tangents, because it's believed that those 10 things were created by God at the last second before going into Shabbat creation, and those things were just waiting to be used at certain spots throughout time. Yeah, everything was ready. So obviously, God already prepared all this because God knew everything was coming, and these things were just sitting and waiting for them to be used. Where did it come from? It's from Pirkei Avot, chapter 5. So it's Pirkei Avot. Which rabbis? Odd ones. So probably I'm gonna go with odd ones. Yes.
Many of those 10 items are used related to miracles.
Almost all of them. Right. They all are.
Kind of like the safety net for people and Mary's moment.
Yeah. I like, so I'm you know what I'm surprised is not in there. I'm surprised what's not in there is the bush, because I think that it's a lot of things that have been placed along the way for us to understand and to look at and to connect with, right? There's a reason why the rainbow was there, right? There's a reason why the manna, we need the manna when we need the manna, right? There's a reason why it reminds me of, not that I've done like a what is it called when you, what's it called when you, the race when you run and then you swim and then you bike? The triathlon, right? So you have to prepare all those things for you to get onto, right? The bike's ready for you. Right? You have to know your shoes are ready. Like you have to be prepared. So I feel like I always, when I think of this, I think of that there are things that are prepared along the way. You were going to say something?
Well, I was going to say that the 10 things that you just mentioned were, according to the Mishnah, like this split millisecond last, like, oh.
Yeah.
So when you said about the bush, two things come to mind. One, the bush is apparently like the essence of God.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't create him,
Oh, God's self.
like in a split second. And also there's a midrash about the burning bush having been burning for
Forever.
a long time, and
Yeah.
it was only Moses who finally looked up to see what was around them.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, it's true. I guess all those objects are simply objects, right? They're actually just things. So yeah, nice. True, but to Cantor's point, it's not a thing. Maybe it was never a thing to begin with. It was simply just God. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Also, the rod was sort of Moses' downfall to not being able to go into
Exactly.
his land.
Exactly. It's the same rod. So it's the same rod that's there for all those instances, right? It's used first in front of the sorcerers in Egypt for the snake, and then it's used to perhaps guide the people and be the shepherd. It was the shepherding staff, right? And then it parts the sea, right? And then it hits the rock the first time properly, and hits the rock the second time not properly. Right, so that rod has significance throughout all of text, that very significant, that rod. So it's interesting that it's there in that spot, and it connects to us in this week's Torah portion. So that's why I thought we could end on that tangent, since we were talking about outer space earlier. Yes?
Instead of the word struggle, I should have used the word enslavement to remind us. I had read a commentary that we can be enslaved by material things, traumas we've had in the past, whether they're physical or mental, and that to help us move forward and get closer to God.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, our enslavements can be a lot of different things. Yeah, it's true. So can our idols. Our idols can be a lot of different things, not just the things that we pray to that are made out of wood or something, but that we just get stuck on. So, yeah. Had this conversation with someone yesterday about the iPhone, on how the iPhone has changed every single aspect of society. The iPhone has changed everything. And then she went on to say she read a fascinating sociological article about not only did the iPhone change everything about society and the world, but when the iPhone then added a front camera, it further changed society completely in a whole other direction also. Because you remember the iPhone only had a back camera. Then they added a front and back camera. So you could take selfies. And then the selfie system just changed the world too. It's interesting sociological. So it's just we pray to certain things, and we think we're no longer doing idol worship, but maybe we are. So not the same that we did. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, iPhone, and then of course we all have them. So not everyone. Some people don't have them, and that's okay. I guess. Not for those people. So this was interesting. Thanks for going with us on this surfing on the surfing today. We were all over the place. The plagues continue next week, so come back next week for the last, and maybe we'll talk about the plagues, the last 3 plagues next week. With the Torah still out, we think of those in our community for who are in need of healing. If there's someone you're thinking of, please share their name. Let's do our Zoom crew first.
Mark Davis, from Marcia Davis, Ethel Kantner, Stuart Fruman, Lawrence May, Gerard family, Sandy Tankers, Ken Tankers, Gail Gibson, all those affected by the war in Ukraine, anti-Semitism, other hate crimes and violence.
Francie Freeman.
Mishaberach 253. Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, הוא ברך את החולים, הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא רחמים עליהם, להחלימם, לפותם, להחזיקם, והשלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בגלה בזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, as together we say, Amen. We are going to return the Torah to the Ark, 256 in our Sidurim, and together we stand.
Yehallelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chaim hi, lama chazikim ba, v'tomcheha meushar, diracheha, darchei noam, v'chol netivotea, shalom. Hashivenu Adonai, elecha menashuva, chanesh, chanesh yameinu, chanesh yameinu, kikedem.
This week, finally, Mandy Patinkin is this week. So if you have not gotten your tickets for Mandy, you still can, because he, what's that? I think you still can. I think there are a few tickets left. I'm pretty sure that that you still can. So that's this Thursday. This Thursday. Wow. It's this Thursday, isn't it? The 26th. I will talk to you about Dan Nichols, because Dan Nichols is February 24, 25, 26. Come to everything that is happening with Dan Nichols. All three things. Come to all three things. Come to services Friday night. We just schmoozed with him this week about Friday night. It's going to be really, really wonderful. Come Saturday night. It is hosted by SLJ, by the religious school. It is not an SLJ program. So it's open to the whole congregation. So come, it's at night. It's going to be like a campy feel. It's like, I forget what we're calling it. I think it's Dan Nichols around the campfire. So it's going to be like a campy feel, and there's going to be s'mores, and there's going to be food, and there's going to be just soft hangout music. So come Saturday night and join us. And then on Sunday at 1:30, so that's the 26th, that's going to be the concert with him and his whole full band. And that's in honor and memory of Dubov. It's part of our Dubov concert that we share between us and Bethel. So that's going to be really, really fabulous. Yes? Yeah, Mitzvah Day is the
February
5th. The 5th. So that's also coming up. Yes, Mitzvah Day is February 5th. My last of 3 classes on Israel is this coming week. It's on Wednesday evening. So you didn't have to come to the first 2. You can still come to this last one if you'd like. It's at 7 o'clock. Yeah. No. Mm-mm. It's not just for people going to Israel. It's a class on Israel. This is the best one. I say the best for last. It's going to be all kinds of Israeli music and all kinds of cool stuff. So come hear some cool Israeli music. And there are snacks. Israeli snacks, not just regular snacks. Israeli snacks. I'll blow it off. And then, whatever.
That's Shabbat Shira.
And then Shabbat Shira is coming up in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Rabbi Khan has a bunch of stuff that she'll be teaching. She has her biblical herstory coming up. She has her well circles coming up. So there's a lot of programs. Whew. And then there's Purim also. So there's a lot of things. It's all on the website. It's all up. Everything's up. Come and join us for all of it. If you have not gotten your tickets again for Mandy Patinkin, you should get them. There are very few tickets. It's the most tickets we've sold, I think, for a speaker series ever. I think. Yes. Yeah, he's amazing. He's an actor. He was in Evita. He has a Tony. He's been a bunch of shows on TV. His wife is coming too. She is also a very famous woman. She's been in several movies and shows. And their son is coming, and he's the moderator. So it's gonna be great. They are now a TikTok and Instagram sensation also. During the pandemic, they really picked up steam on that. And so if you just want to watch some of their little banter, it's very cute, the way that they interact with each other. So it's also now hit sort of the younger generation because everyone knows him from TikTok and Instagram also. Oh yeah, there's a lot of You should talk about TikTok with Rabbi Khan. She loves TikTok. Oh, yeah. She's TikTok. You don't stop. Yeah. All right, we're gonna.
It's gonna stink when we're not allowed to use it anymore.
I know that's true. It's gonna when all the algorithms when we realize that all the algorithms have been going to China, everyone's gonna be real upset about it. Okay, we're gonna continue with Aleinu, 282, and Together We Stand. Please take a seat, Cantor.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגאור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
אחד. We transition our thoughts to Kaddish Yatom, In the period of Shloshim, the immediate 30-day mourning period, we think of Miriam Barrick and our yortzeits that occur for us. This week, Joan Abrams, David Angel, Olga Berrios, Jason Beam, Piri Cohen, Daniel Friedman, Marilyn Friedman, Miriam Glazer, Ethel Goldstein, Linda Greco, Herbert Greenblatt, Hi Gross, John Iverson, Bertha Saritsky, Martin Levine, Mark Peretz, Harry Pitnoff, Ruth Pomerantz, Ethel Rich, Douglas Schubat, Benjamin Siegel, Bradley Silverman, Saul Singer, Nettie Smilowitz, Ethel Solomon, Mildred Sonnenstein, Gertrude Sonnenstein, William Stern, Jeanette Wertheimer. To those names, we had any name that you'd like to add at this time?
Shalashim for my cousin Adam Westing.
Kadisha Tom Motors Kaddish 294. Itgadal v'kadash miraba, b'alma divrach cherute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitada v'yitale v'yitala shmei rikudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'ama v'imru amen. Yehe shlomo rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israels. Together we say, amen. Please be seated. We conclude on this Shabbat morning with
Done Adon Olam in a while.
Adon Olam. Excelente.
321.
321.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzin Yivra Leid Nasa V'cheso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Lo Ra Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hoveh Ve'hu yeh betifara, ve'hu yeh betifara, ve'hu echad, ve'ein sheni lehamshilo, leachbira, ve'li reshit, ve'li tachlit, ve'lo ha'oz, ve'hamisra, ve'lo ha'oz, ve'hamisra, ve'hu
Eli v'chai goali v'tzur chevli b'etzara
ve'hu nisi
umanos li menat kosi b'yom mekra
Venat kosi beyom mekra
Ado af kidruchi ve'et ishan
ve'aira ve'imruchi
geviati Adonai li v'lo ira
Adonai li velo
Adonai oz la'mo yiten Adonai v'rech et amo v'shalom. May God give strength unto our people. Continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. Oneg is in the North Social Hall. Oneg is in the North Social Hall. Yeah. Inside North Social Hall. Yes.